Hello, this is Chris Potter, and I'm here with former Major League star Pete Ward. Uh, Pete was scheduled to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Pete, why don't you tell us about that story?
Well, what happened in 1965 was that it was all planned, it was coming out on this particular date, and what happened was it was replaced at the last minute by Muhammad Ali and Cassius Clay at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that knocked me off the cover, and then about, I don't know, 15 years later or something, I was in New York on a baseball trip, and I went on down to Sports Illustrated and showed him the cover, and asked him I wanted to see a guy named Keith Morris about it, because he's the reason why I got the picture taken in the first place. And the guy said, well, I couldn't see Keith Morris. And I said, why? He said, because he passed away about 8 years ago. So I didn't get a chance to see Keith, but he told me that there was a vice president up in with Sports Illustrated named Art Burke that was a real baseball fan, and I wanted to get permission to use this, to use my business. At the time I was in the travel business, and I wanted to get the permission to use this picture and say like Pete's team in the 70s, that's when I was with the Yankees, and our Pete's team in the 60s, when I was with the White Sox from 63 to 70. And at that time, I thought I could put that picture up here and then have another one over here saying Pete's team of the 90s, 80s, and have a picture of my travel agency. But I couldn't get him for permission for that, but he said I could use it on just kind of a brochure for the company.
Now, is this an original copy from the 60s?
Yes, I think that is the original one they were going to use.
Mm-hmm.
And then years later, they came out to my office and they were running a story on the covers that weren't. So I got my own little separate deal on one of the covers that wasn't, and they ran a little picture of it, so that was good.
Now, when you say the covers that weren't, how many other covers do you know of that were?
Well, I'm not sure. It was either 2 or 4, is what I heard, but I didn't know how many that actually happened. But I know that it happened at least twice.
So this is a limited edition.
Yeah, that wasn't even an edition. That was just a cover.
Uh-huh. Well, now what years did you play with the White Sox?
I was traded from the Baltimore Orioles to the White Sox at the end of the 1962 season, so I was with the White Sox from 63 until 70, and then I was with the Yankees in 1970.
Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about playing with the Yankees?
Well, I mean, it was terrific, and I mean, I think it's kind of a dream of everybody to play with the Yankees, and we had a good season. You mentioned a couple of the guys that you had on your autographs, like Fritz Peterson and
Joe Pepitone?
yeah, Pepe, and a lot of Pepe wasn't there in '70 though, because he was traded to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
But it's yeah, we had a good ball club. We finished second to the Baltimore Orioles, and the Orioles were loaded up. They had a real, all the Robinson boys and a great pitching staff, and Paul Blair out in center field. They had a great ball club. But we finished second to them in '70, and that was a real thrill playing with the New York Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play that much. I basically pinch hit and filled in at first base, and that was the end of my career. And as we mentioned earlier, I have always felt that I was fortunate enough to play for 2 of the outstanding managers of all time, and that would be Ralph Houck, who had the 1970 Yankees, and Eddie Stanky, who I played for. I'm not Eddie Stanky.
Al Lopez?
Al Lopez, that I played for about 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then later Eddie came over for a year. But I think that Ralph Houck and Lopez will stand up anywhere for a long, long time.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one. With playing with the Yankees after 1970, well, what did you do after baseball?
I stayed in it. And in '70 was my last year as a player. In '71 I coached up in Rochester, New York for Joe Altobelli was the manager, and I coached on that ball club, and they had really a great ball club in Rochester that year. Bobby Grich, Don Baylor, Rorick Harrison, and they had some outstanding ball players, and that was fun for me to get my start there. And the next year I got the job managing in the Florida State League for Lauderdale.
Mhm.
for the Yankees, and I spent 3 seasons there, and then went to the Eastern League for 2 seasons in Double-A ball, and then managed in Triple-A for 3 years. And
Now
I
you-
coached 1 year in Atlanta with Bobby Cox.
You mentioned to me earlier that you were in Japan for a year. What was that like?
No, I wasn't in Japan for a year. I just went over there for 2 months at the end of when I was managing Double-A ball. And I was representing the New York Yankees over there, and if you want to get spoiled real easily, you can represent the Yankees in Japan. They just really treated me royally, and it was a tremendous experience.
Now, why don't you tell our audience here a funny story that maybe with the Yankees or with the White Sox during your playing days? I know Joe Pepitone, has told me quite a few funny stories, as Doug Rader as well. Is there anything that sticks out in your mind that?
No, I'm not as goofy as either one of those guys. But we have, I think one of the best things we talked about a little while ago was the 1963 Rookie of the Year award. There's a lot of people think I won the Rookie of the Year award that year, but I didn't. It was on Sporting News and Topps Bubblegum. But I really didn't win the Rookie of the Year. Sports writers went to Gary Peters, my teammate and real close friend still. And anyway, Gary won it, and when I see him, I've been for 7 years. I went to that bat dinner in New York, and almost every year Gary would walk up to me, and the first thing he told me was that he just got through polishing up all my trophies that were over at his house. And then a few years ago up in Seattle, they had a pitcher and an outfielder going for the same thing, Rookie of the Year, and I got a number of calls from some people around the country, sports writers around the country, saying, well, what do you think? Do you think a pitcher should be eligible? And I says, no, I don't think he should be eligible, but I said I didn't mind it when Gary beat me out, because he probably could have beat me out at third base. He was just a real good athlete and a very good hitter and a great pitcher.
Well, thank you. Pete, is there anything else you'd like to share? Anything else that comes to mind? Maybe the fan mail you get, or...
That is kind of amazing, because I don't fool myself and know that I was in the big leagues for 9 years, and I think that it's surprising to me that my last year as a player was 1970, and you still get a number of pieces of mail every month, probably anywhere from 60 to 75, 100, and it's just surprising because it's been that's a long time.
100 pieces of mail a month.
Oh, say 60.
Wow.
You know, and it's and you get them from all over the country, and it's kind of nice and surprising.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's nice to be remembered. I know if I were to play professional baseball and people sent me items in the mail, I'd kind of be kind of flattered.
Well, there's a whole lot of good memories, and I think that one of the most enjoyable things that that ex-players can do is just get around a bunch of other ex-players,
Mm-hmm.
and the stories get going good, and it's just fun.
Well, Pete, thank you for joining us today.
You betcha.
If you'd like to obtain any more information regarding Pete Ward or obtaining his autograph, or for any other autographs of your favorite player, please visit www.chrispottersports.com. My name is Chris Potter, and this is Pete Ward, and thank you for tuning in.